Okay, so what a game to start out the season. I really enjoyed this game. There was actually a point in the fourth quarter where I thought, I'm going to turn this off. I'm going to go to bed early. I don't even want to finish this game because Tampa's just going to win by 14 plus. But then Godwin fumbled, and it made the ending that much more interesting. So we'll get into that here in a minute. But to start out, the game started out kind of slow. Bucks went 3-and-out, and then they had a very good punt where it was inside the 2-yard line. So their punter started out very good. Started out the whole season very good. And then Cowboys went down the field a little bit. I don't think they got anything. I believe the 7 points. I think it was towards the middle of the quarter is where the 7 points came from. I believe it was a CD Lamb touchdown. But it started a little slow, 3-and-out. But it actually looked like the Cowboys were moving the ball. And yes, they didn't score in their first 2 or 3 drives. They had a terrible time running. Ezekiel Elliott had 33 yards for the night. Pollard had 14, and then Dak actually scrambled for 13. I think this were later in the game, towards the fourth quarter. But the running game was just non-existent. Even for the Tampa Bay Bucks, even for the Bucks too. I don't know why I said Tampa Bay. Even for the Bucks, 32 yards for Fournette, 14 for Ronald Jones. Antonio Brown had a little jet sweep type play. So both sides not too much. Just a lot of little chunks. 3-4 yard. Yeah, Zeke averaged 3. Fournette averaged 3.6. Jones averaged 3.5. Oh, well, Pollard had 4.7, but again, that's only on 14 yards. So, but 52 in total, 60. So the Dallas actually outran the Bucks by 8 yards. So, it was not a good ground night game. If you're into running backs, if you're into running games and seeing, people dominate on the ground, this is not a good game for you. This was pass heavy. Dak had 403 yards. Brady had 379 yards. This was just throw. It was just a lot of throwing. But I think this game proved that Dak if he's not 100% healthy, then he can look even better than what he is now. And he's looking very good right now. 58 pass attempts, 42 of those were completions. But wow, he didn't have a lot of deep throws. I think I saw a stat was only 3 or 4 deep throws. But he was getting around in the pocket, moving out from pressure if they were getting in his face. Sometimes he would stand in the pocket and just, let the pressure come, and he'd just take an extra second just to launch the ball, get it to a wide receiver that's more open than versus if they were a second ago. So he was all over in the pocket, scrambling, extending the plays. He looked good. Dak looked very good. I think he's probably my comeback player of the year. I think this game, if he keeps it up for the rest of the season, I think this game was the start of it. And it shows that this is, what Dak can do. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. But, I think Dak is going to be comeback player of the year. I think he'll do very good. I was actually thinking last night, I picked the Washington football team to win the NFC least. I'm starting to think the Cowboys have a shot here. Now, we'll see. I think... What was it? I think it's week 11 or so. I don't know when the next time they play, they face each other. But, those games could be for the division. Giants aren't quite there, and then obviously the Eagles are, really low. But Dallas looked very good. So we'll see how the Washington football team looks on Sunday. But I may change my pick to for the division winner. I may, or we might have 2 out of the least. We'll see what happens if Washington and Dallas both have 10-plus wins. There's a chance we could see two least teams. that's crazy to think about. Tampa, I don't want to say they look terrible. It is only week 1, so that's why I kind of want to wait a little bit. But Dallas right now, if this is what Dallas looks like for the rest of the season, like again, I might be like, oh well, I should have picked Dallas to win. But this isn't mid-season form, so but I think Dallas can keep it up. Tampa, they lost the corner. I don't know how long it's going to be out. If you saw that play, it was on a CeeDee Lamb touchdown. It was I believe the first Dallas touchdown. One of their corners actually got his arm jammed in between another Bucks player and then CeeDee Lamb, and it looked like his arm just kind of it looks like it just bounced the wrong way for a second there. So I don't know if it just dislocated itself or if it's broken or what. But Bucks lost one of their starting corners already. And Dallas didn't take too much advantage of it, honestly. Not until late in the game did they really do that. And then by then, they Dak threw an interception then to seal it, basically. Well, not really. I guess that didn't really. What sealed it was, they just couldn't waste enough time. But I thought they should have gone after that corner, that newer corner, because the one thing Tampa has is it's probably not as good as depth-wise as, maybe some other teams. They're probably not, the number one depth team out there. So, depending on how long the corner's out for, we'll see. Their front four, front seven, their front did very good. A lot of pressure in Dak's face. Again, Dak was able to, stand in the pocket and just get throws out, but they were getting pressure on him. They only had 1 sack. Brady did not get any sacks, or did not have any sacks. Brady did throw 2 interceptions, though. They both weren't his fault, though. One was Leonard Fournette was just being stupid and just could not catch the ball, and it just bounced right out of his hands and just right into the Cowboys' lap. So that was on Leonard Fournette, and then the other one was going into halftime when they did a Hail Mary, and it got intercepted, and the Cowboys tried to return it and almost did, but one of the linemen actually tripped up the guy that was returning it. So neither interception was really Brady's fault. Honestly, you could say the same thing for Dak's interception. He threw a bullet to CeeDee Lamb, and CeeDee Lamb just didn't catch it. It was bad coverage, though. There was 3 Bucks in the area, so that any one of them probably could have. Well, maybe not any one of them could have picked it off, but it was just kind of Dak's fault. But CeeDee Lamb had perfect position to catch the ball, and he didn't. So that's kind of it's split. That is. Also, there was 2 big fumbles in here, and we'll talk about this now. I mentioned it at the start here. 2 big fumbles, one by there it is. Godwin, who he had 105 yards. Holy crap. Godwin, big fumble that almost turned the tides at the end of the game. This was, if Godwin didn't fumble, I was literally ready to just go to bed because I knew the game was over. But the fact that Godwin fumbled and then the Cowboys went down, got a field goal, and then Brady had, I think it was a minute 20 or something like that to come back and score. Well, they got a field goal. And you can talk about the whole offensive PI, not offensive PI, that whole thing that happened. Did Godwin push off? Didn't he? It was close, honestly. I don't know. I would probably have to watch it again and because I only watched it once. If you want to call, you could probably call it PI if you want, or offensive PI. If you don't want to, I think there's a chance. Refs might have been good not throwing the flag there. So I don't know. I've only watched it once, but I'm up in the air about it. But Godwin literally made this a game in the end. If Tampa scored, I think it would have been -3, 28. So yeah, it would have been probably 35 to They have 26. 35-26 would have probably been the score. Because I don't think Dallas would have got a field goal then. So, yeah. Yeah, because it would have been a 2-score game. So, I don't know. I didn't like... I don't know. I just feel like Dallas did not do the 2-minute warning right. And then they had flags in the final drive, holding and whatnot, which ended up putting them back. I think it was like 2nd and 20, 3rd and 20 or whatever. And then just killed the momentum of the drive. Even after CeeDee Lamb made up for the bouncing off his hand for the interception, made up for it on a 3rd and long. I think it was 3rd and 15 at one point. He ran for, I think it was 35, 40 yards. I think I think 31. I think this was the longest. So not 35. So 31, I think, was the longest that he ran for. I think that was the play. So he got him in. He got him to, I think it was about the 35 of Tampa, 35-40, somewhere around there of Tampa. And then they just completely stalled out. Another penalty, and it's just Dallas. Dallas just did not get the clock right. Obviously, Tampa had to waste timeouts and stop them, but you're got to do something, waste more clock, because Brady has way too much time, and that's what ended up killing the Cowboys. Was Brady had way too much time. If he had probably under a minute, I mean, they had one timeout left, so if he had under a minute with one timeout, I don't think that would have, they might have won. So I don't know. But I thought they did a bad job at the very end of the game managing the clock. And that, I mean, basically once, Tom Brady had a minute, someone's like, okay, well, he's just going to go down the field and they're just going to score. Whether it be a field goal or a touchdown, they only needed a field goal. And they got it. So, it would have been a longer field goal if that offensive PI would have been called, but there was still, I think, like 20 seconds left on the clock, no matter what, if it was called or not. So there still had time to get a chunk of yardage back and then spike the ball. So Bucks may have won either way, honestly. But I enjoyed it. I thought a lot of people were really doubting the Cowboys. I said actually on Sunday in my predictions, I said, just watch Cowboys, keep this close. They're not going to win it. I think I said like a 5% chance to win or something like that. But I said, watch, they'll do better than people think. And they did. They kept it close. They were even leading. They were not leading at all until the fourth quarter. Both teams had field goals in the fourth quarter. Their defense, again, showed up. Their defense played pretty well. Offense, again, played pretty well. Gallup went out. He had I think it was an ankle or a leg injury. Gallup was actually doing, let me see his stats. He was actually doing pretty good. Yeah, 36 yards, wow. Only 4 receptions for 36 yards. Yeah, 12 was his longest. 7 targets. Yeah, okay, Gallup was actually doing pretty well until we went out, and it was early third, I believe. But, Cowboys did a lot better than what people said they would. They almost won this game. And, I've seen 42-3, 14-41. I mean, I've seen these, blowout scores. And I'm like, I don't see that. I don't see that with this game. It's week 1. Tampa's not going to be coming out, as they were Super Bowl ready last year. It's not going to be that team. And Cowboys, I mean, they came out and said, okay, we're going to make a statement here. We may not win, but we're going to make a statement. They made a statement, and now it's got me questioning about if they can win the East. I didn't think that until I saw them play. Now, if Washington comes out, destroy, is it Miami? I think they play, here. Chargers. If Washington's come out, their defense destroys the Chargers offense. Chargers put up 10 points. Washington comes out, puts up 30-plus points. I'm going to say, okay, Washington's winning the division. But if Washington comes out, Herbert goes down the field, it ends up being a 1-point game. Maybe Washington loses, or Washington wins by a point. I'm going to say, okay, Washington may win it, but the Cowboys still have a shot here. So I'm just, I think that East is going to be kind of interesting, especially with these two teams. Tampa, again, I put this more as Dallas played really good versus Tampa played terribly, because Tampa did not play terribly. They didn't. They had mistakes, which costed them, and they almost lost this game. But I feel like the Cowboys played up to Tampa more so than Tampa played down to the Cowboys. That's how I feel about this game. If you feel differently, if you feel like, oh, Tampa played down to Cowboys, Tampa sucked this game, I mean, I can see it. Again, Leonard Fournette did not have a good day. 2 fumbles. Brady had 2 interceptions. Again, were not his fault. So there's arguments to both sides. But Tampa they looked okay, like an okay, good team. So I mean, I'm interested to see how the rest of their season goes. If they, don't come out guns a-blazing, I just feel like, yes, they can still win the division, make the playoffs, but if they don't come out guns a-blazing all season, I just think, they may not even repeat. So we'll see, but I enjoyed this game a lot. I was kind of nitpicking some of it, but there's a lot of fun stuff in this game. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap up here. We got Packers game this weekend, a whole bunch of games this weekend. For now, like the video, share the video around, don't subscribe, and I'm out of here. Peace.